Shalom u'bracha. The first thing is a mazel tov to all of those b'nei aliyah who are about to be Messiah Masechta Shabbos, long, difficult Masechta, and embark on the journey of Masechta Erevin. And a special mazel tov because the siyum, a big part of this Masechta was learned under the adverse circumstances of the Corona, whether it meant disruption in the normal Charusashafts, and the normal Shiurim, the normal venue and comfort zone where these Shiurim and Charusashafts used to take place and are going to continue to take place. So it's a measure of Torah shalamadati bi'af, and Chazal teach us, Af Chachmasi Amdali, that the Chachma, the Torah that a person learns in adversity and under adverse conditions, that's the Chachma, that's Amdalai, that stands to his defense in his Melchemes HaYetzer, and is a Malamed Tzchus on him. So there's a special siyum. It's a siyum of a Masechta learned under adverse circumstances. So I give you my bracha, Kashem Shezachisem, L'sayim Masechta Zu, Kein Tisku Lahaschil, or L'sayim Kol HaMasechta Shebashas. A special Yeshikoyach to the Me'arganim, to Agudas Yisrael, Daf Yomi Commission, and those that stand behind these shiurim and these limudim, standing as a friendly reminder, as a big brother, to be mechazik us and to be ma'orer us, to go mechoyel al choyel b'limud HaTorah, and to keep on reinforcing the conviction that Eloi at LaKadosh Baruch Hu b'yolamai ela daled amis shel halacha bilvad, especially in these times of that we commemorate Churban Beis Hamikdash, as miyom shecharav Beis Hamikdash, Eloi LaKadosh Baruch Hu b'yolamai ela daled amis shel halacha bilvad, and be having a kviyus to go through the whole entire Shas Masechta after Masechta b'kviyus without hefsek. That's giving HaKadosh Baruch Hu his Daled Ames Shal Halacha, and giving the Shechina a makam v'shachanti b'soicham b'sachat kol echad v'yechad, and b'schus zeh, and b'schus HaTorah, v'ein shiur elo HaTorah hazois, we should be going from chayil al chayil, and to be zoiche, that this should all serve as a catalyst to the Geula Shleima b'meher b'yameinu amen.
Covered the Lemdei Hadaf Yomi. I was asked to speak about the topic of Adlakas Neiros. Adlakas Neiros has many, many aspects that we have to discuss. First of all, the Ta'am HaChiyuv, the reason of the Chiyuv. Second of all, who's Mechuyev to light the Neiros. Third of all, the Zman Adlakas Neiros. And many, many other topics that come along with this Chiyuv of Adlakas Neiros. The Gemara in Shabbos, Daf Chav Gimel Amud Beis says, Amar Rava Pshitali, Ner Beisai v'Ner Chanukah, Ner Beisai Adif. If you have an option to either light Ner Shabbos or Ner Chanukah, Ner Shabbos is Adif. And the reason for that is because Shalom Beisai Adif. And Rashi brings the Gemara later on, Daf Chav Amud Beis, Vatiznach Mishalom Nafshi Zu Adlakas Ner B'Shabbos, Shebnei Beisai Mitztaran Leisha V'Chayshach. It's uncomfortable for people to sit in chayshach, in darkness. So therefore, Chazal will mechayev a person to go ahead and light Ner Shabbos. The Rambam says that there's two reasons for Adlakas Neiros. One in Perakei Hilchos Shabbos Halacha Aleph, he says the reason is because Einik Shabbos. And Perak Lamed Hilchos Shabbos Halacha Hey, he says the reason is Kavod Shabbos. Kavod Shabbos is normally an act that you do before Shabbos, that's coming on Shabbos, something that you do Kavod Shabbos, Yom Shabbos, something that you do on Friday. And besides for that, there's also the fact that there's light on Shabbos itself, so that's Einik Shabbos. So there's two inyanim every time you light Neiros. there's Kavod Shabbos, and there's Einik Shabbos. And the Gemara says a fascinating thing. The Gemara in the Chav Gimel Amud Aleph says, Omer Avuna Yagel B'nei Havale Bunim Talmidei Chachamim. It's a meritic schus to be Yagel B'nei. If you're used to, literal translation is Yagel B'nei, if you're used to lighting, then you're going to guarantee that you're going to have Bunim Talmidei Chachamim. So let's explain, what does this mean, Yagel B'nei? Before we get to that, there have been a Bechai in Shemais, Perek Yites, Pasuk Yud Gimel says, Roi Isha le'espalel l'Shem Yisborach b'shas adlokas haner shel Shabbos. It's a common for a woman to daven while she's doing adlokas neiris, and the reason is because since she's doing a mitzvah, so therefore it's an inyan to go ahead and daven to have Bunim Talmidei Chachamim. And the Magen Avraham quotes this, Roi shet espalel le'isha b'shas adloka sheyitin la'akadosh baruch hu Bunim scharim me'irim b'Torah. Bunim scharim that shall light with Torah. And the reason for that is because the time of lighting neiris is ner mitzvah v'Torah or, ner mitzvah v'Torah or, ner is keneged Torah. So therefore it's his man to daven for children, Talmidei Chachamim. Even though on Shabbos normally you're not allowed to be mevakish, you're not allowed to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu for your own needs, but since you're asking for ruchnias, you're asking for your children to be Talmidei Chachamim, Balei Midas Taivus, so therefore it's mutter to ask for that on Shabbos also. Ketz Shulchan Aruch brings another minig, the Taiv Shetiten Mikaydem Eze Prutas L'Tzdaka. The person should go ahead and before Adlakas Neiris, give some money to Tzedakah. Kaf HaChaim brings it down to Ben Ish Chai. And the reason for that is because since they're davening, like we said before, B'Shem Ben Abachai and the Ramah and the Magen Avraham, that there's an inyan to daven. So if a person wants davening to be Miraymim L'mayla, to go up to the Shemayim, so there's an inyan to do another mitzvah. So therefore there's an inyan to give tzedakah b'shas adlakas neiris. Now what's the hidur in adlakas neiris to come to this rogel b'nei havale bunim talmidei chachamim? The Shulchan Aruch says in Reish Samach Gimel Sif Aleph, Yeizah Lasa is Ner Yafa. What does it mean, Ner Yafa? B'Megadim writes, the mitzvah is Mishem and Zayis Mehudim, mitzvah Mehudim Mishem and Zayis Zeichel Ayatayr. If you have olive oil, then it's a schus for Ayatayr. Pashtis, the reason why you should have olive oil is because that lights better. Therefore, if you have other neirs that light the same as olive oil, will also be just as fine. There's no din dafka in Shem and Zayis. It's not ner Chanukah that it's adlaka for Chanukah, for adlaka what happened in the Beis Hamikdash. It's ner Shabbos. It's just the Indian that it should be good light. So therefore, Moshe Feinstein in Dibris Moshe in Chelik Aleph Amid Tov Samach Tes writes that Bizmanenu there are candles, there are fire, there's a neiris that are adif, that are better than Shem and Zayis. And there are many different types of candles that a person feels that they light better than Shem and Zayis. There's no Indian in Shem and Zayis, and that's how many pais can go with that. The Chazanish, the Stipler, they go that Madlikin Neiris Regilim V'loi B'Shem and Zayis. It doesn't have to be Dafka Shem and Zayis, even Ner Shavi, even wax. If it lights better, if the fire lights better than Shem and Zayis, there's no Indian Dafka in Shem and Zayis. But Al Pi Kabbalah, they quote the Baal HaTurim, Alatayr, that brings in the beginning of Pashat Tetzaveh, he says Tetzaveh b'gematria noshim tziva. So that's a remez la'adlokas haner chayva b'Shabbos. So the Shlah writes that since that's quoted in Pashat Tetzaveh, in Pashat Tetzaveh it says v'yikchu elecha Shem and Zayizach lamar. Therefore, there's an inyan to have even by Ner Shabbos. There's an inyan to have dafka Shem and Zayis, and that's what the Sifrei Kabbalah writes. That even if you'll have a different candle that lights just as good as Shem and Zayis, but there's still an Indian to have Dafka Shem and Zayis. But like Moshe, and the Pesach that we said before, the Chazanish, the Stipler, and the Rabbi Leibstein, and also in the Sefer Kayal Targ, other neighbors is just as good. And not only that, if they light better than Shem and Zayis, it's even more of an Indian to have that than Shem and Zayis. There's another Maila, some say, quoted from the Magen Avraham and the Chanukah, that Neira is Gedolim. If they're tall Neiras, that's also Indian and Ner Yafa to have, for Ner Shabbos, to have this Bunim, Rogel B'nei Bunim Talmidei Chachamim. And like we're saying, the Shulchan Aruch says that there's an inyan this in Ner Yafa. And the Gra in Shulchan Aruch brings the Mekar to this, the Gemara in Shabbos Daf Chav Gimel. What does he mean? The Pashtus is Kavanah is that the Gemara says over there, Kol Hashmonim Kulan Yafel Ner, all oils are good for Ner, but Shemen Zayis Min HaMuvcha. Shemen Zayis is better than all. And that's what we were quoting before, that this Nekuda of having Shemen Zayis is not Dafka Shemen Zayis, it's any Ner that has in it a good light. The Chidah says that it's Masha from the Gemara that Madlik Neir is Harbe Yosim and Achiyah v'Yogel v'Zahav Banum Tamidei Chachamim. If someone is Meisif, he doesn't just light what he's obligated to light, he adds Neiris to it, then he's Zeichet Banum Tamidei Chachamim. Therefore, it comes to the Halacha, the Me'ikar Adin, Mavu in the Gemara, Mavu in the Rambam, Mavu in the Rosh, that one candle is enough. Adlokas Neir b'Shabbos is enough to have one candle itself. And the Nusach HaBracha is lahadlik ner, one candle, he yaitz the chiv. But if you want a roga b'ner, have a banim tamidei chachamim, you meisef a neris. So therefore, the Rabbi from the earlier Rishonim, he says that you should be madlik 2 neris. And what's the pshat in 2? So he says 2 reasons. One is because it should be a hecker. Normally you have one light on. Now on Shabbos you meisef another ner. So that's a hecker that you're doing something special for Shabbos. That's why there's an Inyan to have 2. Then the Rabbi says another reason is because one is Chad Keneged Zochar, the Chad Keneged Shamar. And the Shulchan Aruch quotes that reason. V'yesh mechavnim lasas shtei psilos echad Keneged Zochar v'echad Keneged Shamar. The Mater Moshe brings down another reason why someone is ragel to have two neris. So he says echad Keneged Ish v'echad Keneged Isha. So therefore, that is the time why someone is rogel to light 2 neiros, and that was ungenommen by Klal Yisrael. Most of Klal Yisrael lights at least 2 neiros. Echad Keneged Zachar, ve'echad Keneged Shama, or is saying Echad Keneged Ish, ve'echad Keneged Isha, or is saying the reason is the first time of the Raviyah that it should be one Keneged that you do every day, and another one to make a hecker, to make it to show that you're doing something special for Shabbos. There are many other counts that the Achronim bring down. The Shlab brings down that there's an Inyan to have 7 neiros. Keneged Shiva Yemei HaShavua, the Mishabura says, or Keneged Zayin Sviros, or the Kaf HaChaim says Keneged Zayin Aliyas on Shabbos. The Shlab brings down another minig to light 10 neiros. Keneged Esa Sviros, Keneged Esa Adibris. And the Bnei Yissaschar says another Inyan to light 36 neiros. The minig in Klal Yisrael by many is to be meisef a ner, to add a ner by every child that you have. And really, the Rivers Ephraim brings from the Lahiras Nasan that there's no real mekar to that, but that's a minig in Klal Yisrael. To be meisef for you and your wife, for husband and wife is 2, and every child that you have, you meisef another ner. The Tshuvas V'Hanhagas, and Moshe Steinbach in his Tshuvas Chelik Beis Simin Kuf Nun Zayin, the end of Vayisiyot, he says, the reason for that is that it's similar to Ner Chanukah. Ner Chanukah, the minig is that everyone lights. So too over here, there's a minig that there should be a candle for everyone in the Bnei Bayis. Now the question is, we said, B'Shem the Rishayim, the Raviyah, and others, that you're supposed to light Echad Keneged Zochar v'Echad Keneged Shama. So if a person's going to go ahead and be Meisif, he's taking away that Zeicha of Zochar v'Shama. He comes into the house, someone walks into the house, and he sees 3 neiros, he sees 4 neiros, he sees 5 neiros. So he's being meisif on Zochar v'Shama, so we don't see the Zochar v'Shama in the neiros. So how could a person go ahead and light more than that? So there's many poskim that discuss this topic. The Machzah Shekel, and Simirei Samach Gimel Sefkat and Beis, he says the fact that you're lighting more, that doesn't take away from what the 2 that you lit. You see 2, you see Zochar v'Shama. You see 3, you see Zochar v'Shama plus another one. So therefore there's no problem in lighting more. But they bring a raya from Taisus and Psachim Daf Kavdalit Aman Aleph Diva Maschel Umar that anytime you meisif to a minyan, you meisif when there's a zeicha to do something, you meisif to it, that takes away from that zeicha. So therefore, by adding neiris more than Zochar v'Shama, you're taking away from the Zochar v'Shama, you're taking away from this hecker of Zochar v'Shama. Therefore, many Paiskim, the Tzitz Eliezer brings from the Maimon Mordcha, and Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky in the Sefer Emes L'Yaakov, in the Orah number 273, write that a person should light 2 candles. Keneged Zachav V'Shama, it should be nicker with it, that it's different than the other candles. Either you can have its own candelabra, or you're going to light different types of candles, different types of neiros, these 2, and the others are going to be different neiros. So you have separate neiros of these 2. So therefore, if a person goes ahead and he wants to have this heater of Shemen Zayis, so Shemen Zayis is an Inyan to have a heker of Shemen Zayis, like we said from the Torah, from the Baal HaTurim, that there's an Inyan to have this heker of Ner Chanukah, and Ner of the Beis HaMikdash. What is that? You light oil for that Zeicher. But the other Neiros, if you want to light something else, Adarabah, that would be a heker that these 2 Neiros are Shemen Zayis, and the other 2 Neiros are Ne'anim, paraffin, or regular candles. Like this is a heker. So therefore, the Paiskim, the Teres Chaim brings from his father, the Machne Chaim, that he would light 2 Neiros, larger Neiros, Keneged Zachav V'Shama, and the other Neiros would be smaller Neiros. Like this, it would be a heker of Zachav V'Shama. So a good Eitzah is, like we're saying before, that you light 2 Neiros for Shemen Zayis, and the rest of the Neiros, you light other Neiros, paraffin, or something that you feel that lights better, and like this there'll be a heker in the adlaka that you light. Now, the minhag ha'olam is that when they go away for Shabbos, they go to the in-laws, they go to the parents, so they just go to a hotel for Shabbos. They don't light all the neiros that they used to in the home. They light 2 neiros, and that's it. If so, the question is, we know that by a minhag yafa in Klal Yisrael, you're not allowed to go ahead and just take away the minhag. So if your minhag is to light for every child, now that you go ahead and you're going to someplace else, you're going to your in-laws and you only light 2 neiros, you have to be mataneda on a minhag tayv, which is not simple at all. So what's the pshat that people can go ahead and light only 2 neiros when they go away from the house for Shabbos? The answer is obvious, and that's what the Achronim say, that since your das was, when you started lighting neiros, originally when you got married and you started lighting neiros, your das was originally that the only reason why I'm being meisif neiros is only because it's possible for me to do, but I'm going away for Shabbos and it's a tircha for me to do. My das originally was that I'm not going to light more. So it's not that I had a minhag tayv and I was mevatel the minhag tayv. My original das of adlokas neiros was that when I go away for Shabbos, I will light 2 neiros. More than that, many times you go away for Shabbos and you're lighting these little candlesticks, something less than you used to. That's also a minhag tayv. Normally you're lighting Shemen Zayis, and now you go away for Shabbos and you're lighting little candles. How could you do that? The same answer, like we said before, is negated to this also. Because since your das was that when you go away, you're not going to light Shemen Zayis, you're going to light whatever is easier for you, whatever your father-in-law sets up for you, your father sets up for you. So therefore, those candles are enough. It's not that you're being oike and minhag tayv. That was your das originally, even though the first Shabbos that a woman lights, she doesn't think about that, but that's ungenum by the Amayim Am. That is what they do, is that they're just lighting these neiros. So therefore, that's what you saw by your elders, and that's what you saw by others. So therefore, that was the original das. So therefore, that's enough to go ahead and be mekayim the mitzvahs adlaka. But Rabelsky says, writes in his Shuvas, Shulchan Alevi Perek Vav Zayin, that's only if you're going away for 1 Shabbos. But if someone goes to a bungalow colony and he's going to be there for 4 weeks, 8 weeks, and that's his bias for longer amount of time, therefore over there you're obligated to light more than 2 neiros. You're obligated to light as many neiros as you do in your house. It's only because you're going somewhere for 1 week or 2 weeks where it's discomfort and it's not the norm to bring your candelabra along with you. So therefore, it's pasha that it would work. But in a case where you're going away for a long period of time, over there you're obligated to take your candelabra, or not take your candelabra, just to light neiros as much as you used to, unless you go ahead and you do atar sadarim. But without atar sadarim, which is not so simple by a minhag tayv, you have to go ahead and light all the candles that you light normal in your home. Now many times, there's different minhagim between the wife and the husband. The husband's minhag could be to light many neres, and the wife's minhag is to light 2 neres, or vice versa. The wife's minhag is to light many neres, and the husband's minhag is to light 2 neres. So what do we go? Whose minhag do we go, Basa? Rabbi Yankov Kamenetsky writes that we go, Basa, the minhag about hadlakas neres, even though the woman is lighting the hadlakas neres. But since the woman, like the Shulchan Aruch Rav says, the woman is the shliach of the Baal, it's really the Baal's chiyuv, but it's a mitzvah that we gave over to the woman, but it's really the Baal's chiyuv. Therefore, he says the minhag is to light the neres of what the husband's minhag is. But that's obvious. Like we started, the whole hadlakas neres was only there for shalom bayis. And if your wife feels that she wants to light more neres, or she wants to go basa her minhag, definitely the husband should be machniya himself, and he should go ahead and go with the minhag of his wife, and not put a fight on that. Because if the whole inyan it's even a greater inyan than Ner Chanukah, because it's there for shalom bayis, so make sure that the shalom bayis is coming out of it. So even though your minhag is different than the wife's minhag, the husband should go with the wife's minhag, because to bring shalom bayis, to bring more shalom bayis to the house. But that's true, that if the husband's on his own, he could go with his minhag. He doesn't have to go with his wife's minhag. But when he's together with his wife, a husband should definitely be machni himself to do his wife's minhag. The Rama in Sif Aleph brings a halacha b'shem Maril, Isha sheshokha pam achas lahadlik madlekes kol yomeh shloisha neres. A woman that forgets to light one time, she has to be meisef in that. And all the Achrayim, the Chai Adam, Shulchan Aruch Rav, the Shulchan, they all go with this minhag that a woman that forgets to light one time, we give her a knas of lighting another ner. So the rest of her life, she has to be meisef in ner for the covered Shabbos. It means even if she's lighting 5 candles, 2 for her and her husband, 3 for her children, if she forgot to light 1 week, she's obligated to be meisef in ner, and from now on she has to light 6 neres. Why were Chazal so machmir, so to give her such a knas? Maril says it's a kapara. She needs a kapara because this is from the only mitzvahs that she's obligated to do. Ner, chala, nida. She's obligated on a few mitzvahs. And if she forgot the hadlaka, so therefore we gave her very strong knas that every single week she has to be meisef in ner. The Bach says a little bit different. He says because we don't want her to forget. We don't want her to forget anymore. It's not just a kapara. It's for her not to forget. Like this, we're meisef on her ner, so she'll never forget. She'll never come to forget because she's worried that she's going to have to be meisef in ner her rest of her life. Dr. Magen Avraham in Sifkat and Gimel, B'Shem the Bach, that if she forgets again, she has to be meisef another ner. So if she forgets twice in her life, she has to be meisef every week 2 neres. The Rabbi says an interesting halacha. A Rabbi in Sifkat and Tes says that this Haisafa does not work. If you want to be meisef shemen, if you want to be meisef some oil into the ner, that won't help. But if it's Isha Aniyah, if she's poor and she can't afford another ner, then we can be mekel and be meisef shemen to the ner. Normally, she has a certain amount of shemen. If she's going to be meisef every week shemen, that would be enough. The Isha Aniyah, if a poor woman, the Mishabura calls this as if cotton Zion, we could be mekel by Isha Aniyah. So let's say a woman forgets to light a ner, and now she's meisef when she's home. She's always meisef in ner. She goes to someone else. She goes to her in-laws for Shabbos. She's embarrassed to be meisef in ner. She comes in there. Normally, her father is going to put 2 neres for her to light, and now she comes and she has to tell her father that she has to be meisef a 3rd ner because she forgot. She forgot to light. Obviously, she's obligated to light a 3rd ner. You can't say that the minhag is that she lights 1 ner. That's not the eitzah. She lights 2 neres when she goes away. That's not an eitzah. Over here, it's a knas. She's obligated to light 3 neres. And that's what Chaim Kanievsky says. And the Chuvas Ephraim Mechelik Aleph Simon Kuf Pei Daled. They write that when you go away, you can't get away from that knas. You're obligated to light 3 neres. But I think that since we have the El Yerabah and the Mishabura quote, that by Isha Aniyah, a poor woman that can't afford a ner, there's another eitzah to be meisiv shem and bener, to be meisiv, that's considered that you're lighting your third ner, you're meisiv shem, and because you're adding some oil to it, so you're giving yourself a knas of adding oil. Normally you would have a certain amount of oil, now you're adding oil to that. So therefore, if a woman is embarrassed to tell her parents that she forgot once to light a ner, if she's just meisiv to the ner that was set aside for her, that will be enough. Busha is just like Isha Aniyah. And therefore, the Isha Aniyah, we give a heter that she can be meisiv a ner, so too, a woman that's embarrassed can be meisiv shemen to her ner. Now, obviously in your home you should not be doing that because the Mishabura said only by Isha Aniyah, but when you're going away for Shabbos and you're embarrassed to tell the host that I forgot once or I forgot twice or whatever it is, whatever it may be, you meisiv to the ner that they set aside for you, you meisiv shemen to the ner, that would be enough. Now that's pashut. Then in the time that you were einus, chas v'shalom, if a woman's in the hospital and she was einus, there's no knas, because since it wasn't her shikha, it wasn't that she forgot, she's einus, she knows she's mechuyev to light, therefore she's not mechuyev to go ahead and be meisiv. Which comes to the same thing. Many times you make your early Shabbos, and the husband goes to shul to daven mincha before plaga mincha. And it's normal for the wife to light before the husband goes to the shul. So it comes out, in this scenario, the wife's lighting before plaga mincha. Before plaga mincha, it's not a good adlaka. It's not a kiyum of adlaka. So therefore, even though she lit and she made a bracha, she should have a knas. Because she lit, that's not called a lighting. There's no kiyum of adlaka. But over there also, Rabbi Yashav Paskins, and many places go with that since she wasn't intentional, it wasn't a shikha that she forgot. She really thought she was lighting. So that's considered like aynus. She thought this is the zman adlaka. So since she thought that this is the zman adlaka, if she lit before plaga mincha, that we're not meisiv on her ner, even though there's no kiyum of adlaka, she wasn't yetzer the chiv. She was not yetzer the chiv. If the husband comes on before that, he should relight, or she should tell a guy to light, whatever it may be. But her adlaka is not a kiyum adlaka. Still, Chazal didn't give you a knas because that's not considered. That's more like a aynus that Chazal didn't knas the person. Now, there's a very interesting Pri Megadim. Pri Megadim in Eshel Avram Sivkat and Gimel says that if the minhag is for this woman to light many neiros, she lights for every child. She's meisiv a ner for every child, and she forgot one Shabbos to be meisiv. Normally she lights 5. This Shabbos she lit 4. Zok the Pri Megadim over there's also a din to be meisiv a knas every single Shabbos. That means if her minhag is to light 5, and this week she lit 4, for the weeks to come she always has to light 6, because since her minhag is to light 5 and she forgot to light 5, she lit 4. Zok the Pri Megadim, and many poskim go with this. The Debetzina goes with this. The Klaizer Megareva goes with this. That she has to be meisiv, even though you would think that no, she lit at least 2 neiros. Why would she have to be meisiv? Zok the Pri Megadim, the fact that she forgot to light a light, that's her minhag. Her minhag is obligated to light 5 lights. She's mechuyev from now on to light 6. The Halacha in Sif Beis, the Maskal Shashak has a very hard time with this Pri Megadim. His Matmi says the whole thing is just a minhag. Havud lo'leisif Allah, we're going to go ahead and be meisiv on her such a knas that she should have to and not obligated to light something which she did a minhag type. So therefore the Halacha argues on the Pri Megadim, and he says that she's not obligated to light more. Shlomo Zalman Auerbach in the Sefer Amir Beis Yaakov, Rabbi Yashiv in the Sefer Asher Yish, and many other poskim go with the Halacha, not like the Pri Megadim, and they say you're not obligated to go ahead and be meisiv in that. And that's what we go with, that a woman is not obligated. If she forgot to light one of the neiros, the husband didn't set it up, or even the husband set it up, she forgot to light it, she's not obligated to go ahead and light other neiros. If a woman, by mistake, forgot and she lit after Shkia, she didn't know the time, she didn't realize how late it was, and she forgot to light after Shkia, so too over there, we were not kindness her, we didn't give her a knas, because that's considered like a aynus, and even though she wasn't yaitz the kiyam adlaka, She lit on Shabbos. She obviously wasn't Yaitz the Kiyum Adlaka, but since she thought she was lighting Kedin, over there, we don't give her a knas. So too, if a man is lighting and he forgot to light, over there we would not give him a knas to be meisif. If Chas v'Shalom someone is an alman, or someone his wife is away and he's supposed to light and he forgot to light, over there we did not obligate him, we didn't give him a knas, and the reason is because the only time, like we said earlier, we gave the noshim a knas because this is the only mitzvah that's from the only mitzvah they're obligated to do, and they forgot, so therefore Chazal figured to give her a knas. But by a man that is obligated many mitzvahs, we weren't so stringent on him to give him a knas. And that's what the Betzina, Rav, Moshe Chelek Ches, and Tzamach Gimel, and Rabbi Yashiv, and Dorayuke, and many other Paiskim go that we didn't knas a man. It's only, the knas is only by a ish, by isha, by a woman. Another important halacha to know is, the Mishabura says, you're allowed to light from one candle to another. Mutter lahadlik min ner lener. So if you have one candle, she lit one candle, and now she doesn't have a match, she's allowed to go ahead and light from one ner to another ner. But, Zok the Mishabura and Siman Samach Gimel Sivkat and Dalet, to light a match from that candle, that's awesome. It's only mutter to light a candle from a candle directly from another candle. But to light a match, to light another candle, that's awesome. That's something which is in between the hadlaka of the candle, that's awesome. Because since it's an air mitzvah, I can't light a kisa. I can't go ahead and light a match from that candle, even though I'm going to take that match to light the other candles, that is awesome. And that's what all the Achayin and Paskin, that it's awesome. There's another El Yerabah that the Be'er Halacha quotes. The El Yerabah is the Siman Samach Gimel Sivkat and Aleph. He says, "V'toiv leisha yiras Hashem shloi tadlik bekinsa, rak yeloneh shal shayva miyuchad lahadlik midei Shabbos b'Shabbos." He brings a halacha that there's an inyan that a woman should have the same candle that she lights every single, the same match or the same candle that she uses, she should use that every single week. So there's an inyan, and that's what you see by many, to have the same candle, a candle that a woman lights from. Not only that, the Tosfos Shabbos brings down that there's an inyan that the husband should light that candle. It's quoted from Pri Megadim, that the husband should light that candle and she should take that candle and light the other candles from it. We said before that the woman is a shliach from the Baal. And the skula to this is Havalei Bunim Tamid Chachamim. But a man also wants to have part of this mitzvah. How does he zoicha to get together with his wife, this Bunim Tamid Chachamim? The Magen Avraham says, therefore, in Siman Samach Gimel Sivkat and Zayin, Ha'ish Yisaken Anes, the husband, the man should go ahead and make a tikkun, should prepare the neiros for the wife. Shulchan Aruch Harav quotes it, Toiv Shehu Yisasek B'tikkun Apsilas V'Aneris. Therefore, it's a minig by many that the wife does not prepare the neiros, the husband prepares for the neiros for the woman, and that's his chelik in the mitzvah. The Ramah says, Yechaylin L'Haisif L'Hadli Gimel L'Dalet Neiros. Pri Megadim quotes Tosfos in Shabbos Daf Chav Gimel Amud Beis that says, the Havigili B'Shraga. Who is Ragel B'Shragi? The Amayroid, the men. Therefore, Pri Megadim brings down in Rosh Yosef, in Shulchan Aruch, in Pri Megadim and Eshel Avraham Sivkat and Vav, that there's an inyan, that there's a minig, that the wife lights 2 neiros, and the husband adds on the rest of the neiros, and that's the neiros that he lights. We don't see that by many, but I saw in the minig, Minhagei Chasam Sofer, brought down in Zmias Chasam Sofer, and the Munkach Rav, and Darkei Chaim V'Shalom, the Satmar Rav, and Zmias Divrei Yoel, they would light neiros. Besides for the woman neiros, they would also go ahead and light neiros. The Mishras Yankov on the Rambam is bothered that he says that we don't see this by the Amayinam, we don't see this adlakas neiros. And I think to say that we do see this by adlakas neiros, and we'll explain it later, that the fact that a husband opens lights in the house, that's also somewhat of a din of adlakas neiros, and that is the kiyum of adlakas neiros, and therefore that would be the scheme of this Pri Megadim of the husband being meisiv to the ner of Ragel B'ner, Ragel B'Shraga B'Tira, that would be the fact that he's being Meisef Neiris. The Ramah brings another minig in Simanei Samach Dalet Sif Tes. Nogu lahadlik hapsila v'lich baisa. There's a minig to the husband should go ahead and light the ner and burn it out. And the minig to that was the fact that helps the woman when she lights it. The Mishabura quotes this minig also v'zeh yasa ish metchila v'yite'elas. This is a ta'elas for the woman. Shalai tisha ha'isha ba'ad l'kasa b'yigiyaz mana. It shouldn't. It's quicker when it's lit first, and the woman now relights it. It's easier for her to relight. Now the question is if this is negaya bismanenu. By many candles we see that it's not so. That when you light it once, relighting it is not going to help it. It doesn't help the fact that you lit it once. So therefore, many paiskim, the Stiples, brought down Sabenu, the Chazanish, and many others felt that there's no Indian today to do that. The fact that you once lit it and to relight it, by many neiros it doesn't help. Therefore, there's no such minig. But the Baron Leib Steinman and Ka'ayel Tairag, they quote that he said, even today's neiros, there is such a minig, and the husband would get a kiyum of adlaka. That is his kiyum in the adlakas neiros by lighting it first. Therefore, if you feel that it would help the woman lighting it, is definitely Indian for the husband to light it first, and then blow it out right away, and then the wife should go ahead and light it. Now, there's a minig which is really in the Gemara. The Gemara says, a woman should not go be magdim da hadlakas neres and not be ma'achad da hadlakas neres. Why? So Rashi brings down the reason is because la yagdim la minker she shall Shabbos. If you're going to light the neres too early, it's not minker. It doesn't look like you're lighting for Shabbos. It looks like you're lighting now because you want to enjoy the light, the candles for right now. But it doesn't look like you're lighting for Shabbos. So therefore, Zok the Shulchan Aruch in Siman Reish Samach Gimel Sif Dalet. La yagdim lemahar la'adlikoi ba'oida yom gadol. A woman should not light the neres when it's still daylight. Ba'oida yom gadol. Sha'oz eina nikah shemadlika l'kavod Shabbos. It's not nikah that you're lighting for kavod Shabbos. But he ends off. V'im roitze lahadlik ner ba'oida yom gadol. If the woman does want to light before Shabbos, earlier on, you have to be medayik and mekabel of Shabbos miyat. The woman is obligated to go ahead and be mekabel Shabbos right when she lights. What does miyat mean? How much time do we give you from lighting to be mekabel Shabbos? Normally a woman is mekabel Shabbos right when she lights. Sometimes she wants to make a tanai and she doesn't want to be mekabel Shabbos right away. How much time do we give her? The Shulchan Aruch says miyat. So the machlekes in the Achrayim. The Derech HaChaim says that miyad is lav dafka taker from miyad la'alter. How much time is that? So the machlekes in the Achrayim, some say it's 15 minutes, some say it's 10 minutes, some say it's 8 minutes, but more than 15 minutes is definitely not miyad, and not only that, you're not yaitze the hadlaka. The Derech HaChaim writes, even b'di'evad you weren't yaitze, which means many times a woman is going to a far distance on Shabbos. She's walking, it's a 45-minute walk, she's going to Sheva Brachas, and she wants to light, she's lighting in her house. Therefore, so one way, she wants to drive. So she lights in her house, and she makes a tanai that she's not going to be Mekabel Shabbos. When she gets to that destination that she's going to be for Shabbos, she's going to be Friday night, that's when she's going to be Mekabel Shabbos. So she gets to drive one way, she takes a ride one way, and the way back she's going to walk to her house. So if it's going to be more than 10 minutes, she cannot, it's not a kiyum of adlakas neir. She'll have to relight where she's staying right now for Friday night. So you have to make sure that when you're going from one destination to another, and she doesn't want to be Mekabel Shabbos yet because it's too hard for her to walk both ways. She only wants to walk the way back. She doesn't want to walk the way there. She's looking to get a ride. But it has to be that it's not more than a 10-minute ride. If it's more than a 10-minute ride, there's traffic on the road. She's obligated, even though she made a bracha in the first destination, she's obligated to relight where she comes to, where she's going to be for Shabbos, for Friday night Suda, and she's going to relight with a bracha. The Derech Chaim Shulchan Aruch Rav hold that Kolzman, it was more than 10 minutes, it wasn't miyad, she's not yotze kiyum hadlaka. But the Shulchan Aruch Rav gives you a heter, and he says that if in the place where you lit originally, your husband stayed at that place, or your children stayed at that place, he says then, since someone else is mekabel Shabbos with these neiros, that's enough to go ahead and say that the Neir Shabbos was a hecker to it, and therefore you do not have to go ahead and relight where you are. That's considered the hadlaka miyad, because since someone is being mekabel Shabbos with these hadlakas neiros, therefore that's enough to have that it's a Kabbalah Shabbos miyad, and she can make a Tanai, and the Tanai could be longer than 10 minutes, could be longer than 20 minutes. It doesn't make a difference, because since she lit with the Kabbalah Shabbos to it, that's considered that's Kabbalah Shabbos miyad, even though it wasn't her that was being Kabbalah Shabbos. Shulchan Aruch Rav holds that that's enough to have a Kabbalah v'tanai. Now, this is all obviously that the hadlaka was after Plag HaMincha. Before Plag HaMincha, no one holds that that's Kabbalah Shabbos. You're not yotze before Plag HaMincha. So if someone by mistake realized that she lit before Plag HaMincha, she has to relight, because before Plag HaMincha is daylight, and it's not time of Shabbos at all. Therefore, the Chum said that that's not Zman Hadlaka at all. Now, there's many different minhagim when a woman lights. There's a minhag in Klal Yisrael. It was by the Sachlis Rabbanim, by the Satmar Rav, and so too it's quoted in Shuvas B'ch Shemayim, that the minhag is to light 15 minutes before Shkia. The reason to that is because there's a Yeshitas HaYireim, one of the Rishonim, that say that Tchilas Ben Hashmashis is 13 and a half minutes before Shkia. Magen Avraham quotes it in Siman Reish Samach Aleph of Cotton Test. So therefore, you 13 and a half minutes, and you want to be mice of something tais for Shabbos. So therefore, the minhag was to light 15 minutes. You want to be machma on the Shittas Yireim, Chumras of Shabbos, and you want to be mice of the Shabbos. So therefore, we gave you 15 minutes before Shabbos. But there's a minhag by many of Klal Yisrael, and most of the calendars have this minhag to light 18 minutes before Shabbos. And the reason for that is because since we want to be chayshish for the Yidas HaYireim, like we said before, and there's some shittas that hold that the Yireim is 15 minutes of shittas Yireim, therefore you'll go ahead and be meiser 15 minutes plus Taisef Shabbos, that will be 18 minutes. And there's many other minhagim, minhag Yerushalayim is 40 minutes, and there's many different reasons for that. But a woman should definitely go ahead and be meisif more than just a minute before Shabbos, because a minute stam is safek, and there's an Inyan stam to be meisif to Neir Shabbos. So therefore, there's a minhag that a woman should try to go ahead and light at least 18 minutes before Shabbos. That is ungenumen by Klal Yisrael. There's a machlekes in the Paiskim when a woman makes a bracha when she lights. But every bracha, every mitzvah we know, a woman lights Oivel Asiyasam. Before you do the mitzvah, any mitzvah you do, you'd make the bracha Oivel Asiyasam. But the minhag by many, especially Bnei Ashkenaz, is to make the bracha La'achar Asiyasam. La'achar Adlaka. After you finish lighting, they make the bracha. And the reason for that is because you don't want to go ahead. Some hold that the bracha, by making the bracha, you be mekabel Shabbos. So if she made the bracha, she can't light. Therefore, Zakter Ma, the minhag is to first to light and then make the bracha. Now, how do you get over Lasiyasa? Zakter Ma, you cover the neiros. Since you're covering the neiros, you weren't nena from the ner, you light and right away you cover the ner. You weren't nena from the oya ner. Since you're covering it, therefore you cover it. You cover the neiros. You make the bracha. And then you open up the covering, and now you know it's Oivel Asiyasan of the Anos and Neiros. The minhag by many is to cover your eyes, because you can't cover, your two hands can't cover all the neiros. And even if you're going to cover some neiros, but the light is going to come underneath your hand. So therefore, the minhag is by many to cover your eyes. And then women go ahead and mispal while the eyes are covered. The mispal for the children, and you saw by the elderly woman, you see they would sit and cry for a long period of time. because that, like we started, that's his man for tefillah. But you have to understand, we're saying that, the Ramah is saying that by lighting, really you have to make the bracha beforehand. Because bracha is over asiyasa. Bracha is koydem asiyasa. But the reason why they're not doing beforehand is because the chashash, that when the bracha you mean mekabel Shabbos, so therefore you do it, you make the bracha after the hadlaka, and you cover your eyes. But if a woman's going to go ahead and cover her eyes and continue on by davening, then she's not doing Ovel Asiyas, and she's being mafsik between the bracha and having Hanor Lo Yaneh. So therefore the true meaning is that she covers her eyes, she makes the bracha while she's covering her eyes, she opens up the cover, she takes off the hands of her eyes to have Hanor, and then she goes ahead and davens. She should not go ahead and daven before she looked at the nails. While her hands are closed, she should not go ahead and daven, because then she was mafsik between the bracha and the halakas nails. So therefore, the true meaning is and should be that the wife lights the nails, she makes the bracha while her eyes are closed, and then she goes ahead, looks at the nails, and then she can go daven and cover her eyes if she wants. But to have that she's continuously covering her eyes and davening before, right after the bracha, before she looked at the nails, that could be a true hefsek between the bracha and hanor. And therefore a woman should not do that. If a woman forgot and made the bracha before she lit the nails, the poskim write that it's pashut, that she could go ahead and light the nails, because her stam das is that she doesn't want to be mekabel Shabbos with the bracha, and therefore since she doesn't want to be mekabel Shabbos with the bracha, she goes ahead and even normally she makes the bracha afterwards. If this time she forgot, because many women the minig is by Yantiv first to make the bracha and then to light. On Shabbos that's not the minig, but on Yantiv that's the minig. So therefore sometimes she can forget and she switches on Shabbos. She by mistake made the bracha and then she lit. If she made the bracha, she's allowed to light the nails, because she was lahedja, not mekabel Shabbos with this bracha that she made. But if a woman lit the nails and she forgot to light one nail, she made a bracha and she forgot to light one nail, over there we don't say that her das was to light that nail, and she should not light that extra nail. Even though normally she lights 7 nails, and now she only lit 6, and by mistake she made the bracha before she lit the 7th, over there the poskim say she should not go ahead and light the nails. Now, a very important topic is, where does the woman light? Where is the true makom to light? The Ramah in Simon Reish Samach Gimel Sif Yud says, Ika adlaka tluya b'nei shemadlikin ala shulchan. The Ika adlaka is that a woman should light on the table. Aval lo b'shah hanei shebebayis. Not other places, on the table itself. The Levush says in Sif Yud, Ein Ika adlaka levarech ala tluya ela b'nei shemadlikin ala shulchan sha'oichlin by. The place where you're eating, that's where the neir should be. Why? So he says, Ika shalom bayis. Now the place can say that it doesn't mean dafka ala shulchan. Any place that the shulchan, where you're sitting and eating, you see the neirs, that's enough. It has to give to the table, which means many times a person has a table a small table next to the table he's eating. That's the same thing, that's considered ala shulchan. It doesn't have to be directly on the table. The fact that it's for the table and you have enough from it while you're sitting on the table, that's enough to be considered what the Ramah means ala shulchan. The Meiser Rav, the guy in the Meiser Rav, and Kufiyat Gimel says, Ein lahamid haneis ala shulchan, and that's the reason how it's muktzah. But you see that the guy wasn't makbid on lighting on the table dafka. So too, Meiser Steinbach in his Tshuvas Vanagis, in Chelik Aleph, Siman Eish Ayin Reish Beis, goes along with that a person should not go ahead, not mechuyev to light a dafka on the table that he's eating. Any place that samach l'shulchan is considered the table. Now, besides for lighting by the shulchan, there's another din that there has to be neirs b'chol cheder v'cheder. The Magen Avraham in the beginning of Simon Reish Samach Gimel says, "V'yadlik b'chol achadam shehadach sham." And the reason for that is Because shalai yikashal ba'etz ve'evan. It's brought down in the Gemara, in the Rishonim. Shalai yikashal ba'etz ve'evan. You go into a dark room, you could trip. That's not covered Shabbos. So therefore, there's an Inyan to have hadlakas neiros Shabbos by the table. But then there's another Inyan, that all over your house there should be neiros lit. Ner b'chol cheder v'cheder. And that chiyuv is not after for the woman, that chiyuv is for the husband also. So therefore, the kiyum doesn't have to be that you literally open a light in the bedroom. If you open a light in the hallway, and like this you have light in all the bedrooms, that's also enough. Any time that it's shalai yikashal ba'etz ve'evan, or if you have a bathroom coming off the bedroom, and you open the light in the bathroom, you also get a kiyum mitzvah of hadlakas ner b'chol cheder v'cheder. Now, the hadlaka of lighting where you eat, that's normal for the woman to light, but like we were saying earlier, the hadlakas ner b'chol cheder v'cheder, normally that's a husband faket. It's opposite. If the husband goes ahead and does it, that's his kiyum of adlakas neiros. That's how he can get. He doesn't have to literally light a candle. The fact that he's opening up a light, electricity, that's also enough to go ahead and get the kiyum mitzvah of hadlakas neiros b'Shabbos. Now, today, times has changed, and today we have electricity. And you come into your house, you have your chandelier with the spotlights, and you see those two neiros that your wife lit, or many neiros she lights. It really doesn't give you any it doesn't give you any enjoyment. So if it's put by the table area, so then there's some chashivas, the fact that they are neiros to the Suda, so therefore it gives you enjoyment, it gives you einik Shabbos. And it's covered Shabbos, the fact they are neiros by the Suda. Like you see during the week, chashav Sudas, you see by a Sheva brachas, you see by a wedding, by a chasana, that there are neiros on the table. That means neiros give chashivas to the to even though there's electricity and there's many lights besides for that ner, and you don't need those candles for the light, but since it gives cover Shabbos, it gives cover to the Suda, so you get the kiyum mitzvah v'hid. But many times you don't have that. For instance, you're going to your in-laws for Shabbos, and there's already a few neiros. Your mother-in-law lights, or whatever it may be, there's already many neiros on the table. By you adding those two candles, that doesn't give any more cover Shabbos. So you have the electricity, you have the chandelier lighting. So that takes out that you don't have a problem of light at all. You don't need light. You're doing it as covered Shabbos. The fact that instead of having 10 neiros, you have another 2 neiros, that's not being massive to cover Shabbos. So what's the hida? What's the best way to go ahead and light those 2 neiros? So many poskim say that if you go ahead and light before the balabayas lights, you're the first to light in the room, then you're getting the kiyum mitzvah. So since you're lighting those 2 neiros, then you're allowed to go ahead and make a bracha l'katchila, because you are the first to light it in the room, and therefore you're getting a kiyum mitzvah of covered Shabbos. Another eitzah is to make sure that when you're lighting, even if your mother-in-law lit first, or whoever it was, the ayah, your host lit first, you come there and you're going to light your 2 neiros. You're not going to add to the light, and you're not having to cover. So what you do is you shut the electricity, and you shut the chandelier, you shut the light in the dining room at that moment, and you light while the electricity is off. So therefore you're not getting the covered Shabbos, but you're getting now that you are being massive to the ner b'Shabbos. So either you go ahead and you yourself turn on the light first, you shut off the electricity, the switch, and then you turn it on. So you are massive now, you are massive light in the room on Shabbos, therefore you get the kiyum mitzvah, and then you go ahead and light your 2 neiros. So since you're adding light to this household, to this dining room, therefore you'll get the kiyum mitzvah. So again, the best eitzah is when someone is lighting at his own home. Rabbi Moshe did this, and many other poskim did this, that the woman either would have the light, the electricity off while she lights, she would have the chandelier off while she lights, and the husband goes ahead and she lights the neiros. After she lights, the husband goes ahead and opens the chandelier, turns it on. So therefore, while she lit, these neiros are adding, not just adding, these are the neiros, the source of light in the room. So therefore, it's like a tchila to make a bracha. Or, another option is, she goes ahead and she herself turns on the chandelier, and right away she's not mafsik, and she goes ahead and she lights the neiros. So therefore, it's the katchila to be meisif in there on the neiros that she lit, which means the chandelier is misyachas to her. It has to do with her lighting. So therefore, that's the katchila, and she's making a bracha. When she's making a bracha, she's making a bracha. Side for the chandelier that she lit, she opened up, she's put the switch of the chandelier, that was her adlaka, and that she was meisiv neiros of Shabbos, that is the best either. But even if a woman doesn't do that, she's mutter to make a bracha l'katchila. But when she's going away for Shabbos, over there where she's lighting 2 little candles, and she's not being meisiv side to the light in the room and side to the covered Shabbos, over there it's definitely better to go ahead and make sure that the chandelier is off while she's lighting, or she herself should go ahead and light the chandelier. Now, there's many, many other halachas that we don't have time to discuss, so maybe on a different occasion we'll get to it. I should have a lot of atzlacha, and we should be zeicha to all of us to have this ragul b'nav alei Bunim tamid chachamim, which was so mispowerful, to all have Bunim me'irim tamid chachamim. 2 shilas came in while I was speaking. We discussed how many neiros the minig is to light. And we said that by many the minig is to be meisif on every child. Is the minig that you light 2, and then you meisif 2 for ish v'ishta, another 2 for ish v'ishta, and meisif on any child? Or the minig is always just to light 2, and every child just to be meisif another one? That means, do I start with 4 and then be meisif on any child? Or I light 2 for ish v'ishta and then be meisif on every child? So to that, there's 2 different menachim in Klal Yisrael, and some are meisif, they light 2 connected zacha v'shama, then they light another 2 connected ish v'ishtai, and then they light another for every child. But by most, the minig is not like that, and ish v'ishtai and zacha v'shama are included in the same 2, and they just light for every child. Another shaila is, which is very negeya, is if someone goes ahead and he goes away for Shabbos. He lives in Brooklyn, and he's going to Simcha in New Jersey for Shabbos. And he's going to be eating at one destination and sleeping at another destination. Where should he do as adlakas neiros? Should he do it where he eats, or should he do it where he sleeps? So we did say that the best hadlaka, the way the Ramah says, is ala shulchan, where you're eating. That is the ikka kiyam hadlaka. But in a scenario where you're going for a Shabbos brachas, and there are many going to be lighting in the dining room, so we said it's b'chalal not pashut that your 2 neiros are being meisif anything, not mitzad the light in the room, and not mitzad covered Shabbos. You don't even see it. You see 2 little neiros. There's so many other neiros. You're not being meisif, not mitzad the light, not mitzad covered Shabbos. Therefore, most poskim agree that you should light where you're sleeping. But that's only in a case that when you're sleeping, there aren't too many neiros, and your neir is going to be meisif to the light where you're sleeping. But if we are sleeping, there's also many neiros over there. Definitely, you should not light where you're sleeping, because it's definitely better to light where you're eating. So every scenario depends. If where you're sleeping, there's no one around, so then you should rather go ahead and light where you sleep, but you have to make sure that you're having hanor from those neiros. Which means, if it's a 2-hour nair, and you're going to come back after the Shabbat brachos, after the Suda, and the neiros are going to be out, then you have no kiyum adlaka at all. So you have to make sure that you're going to have hanor from those neiros. You're going to make sure that those neiros are lit long enough period of time, and it stays lit when you come back. But if not, you light where you eat. So again, better is to light where you eat. But in a scenario that you're lighting where you eat, you're not going to have any suffer, not mitzad the ner, not mitzad the light, and not mitzad the covered. You should light where you sleep. But again, when you're lighting where you sleep, it has to be that the sleeping, you're gonna have enough from it, and not that you're not gonna have enough. So either when you come back after the Shabbat brachas, it'll still be lit. Or, b'shas you like, you stay there for a little while, you read next to the neiros, or you do something that you're having enough in the neiros, and that is enough to be considered that you lit in the right destination.